Good Lord, that's gonna take a long time. All right, here we go. Let's do this one. Oh, that's you. Hey, hello and welcome. We're just testing out some new setups here. You can see I got my buddy here, Tanner, in the stream. I've got Cornucopias loading up, so I'm trying to figure out what. Okay, there we go.
The 32 gigabytes of update it needs to do.
That's gonna be fun. So we might get to that today, we may not. How are we doing? Happy Sunday, happy Mother's Day to any mothers out there. See, we've got Mr. Butters in the chat. How are you doing, sir? Let's see, let me pull up my news rundown here and we'll get moving. Plug in some headphones just to see what our audio, it looks like it's good. I didn't want to get into that, but I'm gonna get into that. Let me pull up my YouTube video. Looks like we got 2 people in the chat. How are we doing? Doing amazing. Having a nice relaxing Mother's Day with Mama, that's good. Plug this puppy in.
Headphones.
If I can. There we go. All right. So yeah, this is my first time having a friend on the stream. Hey, it sounds like we're mono. Why are we mono? Oh, is that better? That's better. There we go. Gotta check in with our audio equipment. All right. So let me know how this sounds, how this looks, how everything's going. I'm switching my main camera to the 4K camera, so it looks a little cleaner and it focuses a lot easier. I had a little accident earlier. My spaceship lost a couple engines, but you probably wouldn't have noticed that if I didn't say anything. Anyway, all right. We got our background music on.
Heck yeah.
There you go, if you want to listen. So keep an eye on, he's a sound guy, so he can keep an eye on our sound. There's a weird echo, but I don't know how to fix that, and it doesn't come up on the stream, so it's all good. Look at that, it's the Tan Cam.
Yes, sir.
So you may know him, what is it, Lucio?
Yeah, Lucio in the Discord.
Lucio in the Discord. He is the moderator of my Discord. He helped me set up all the stuff that we had. We got the dual cam. Look at this. We are high tech today. It's a lot of fun. So let's do our little crypto rundown. We'll check in with the Twitter because we've got a patch. I should have done this yesterday. Tan Cam. So we have a patch. I should have loaded this up earlier, but we've got a patch loading on Cornucopias because a couple things I wanted to get to today, including a little book. I haven't had time to read it yet, but I need to do that probably this week. We'll talk about that, and I want to talk about exit strategies for the upcoming market. And be gentle with my camera.
I'm being as gentle as I can.
Put that down. So the upcoming market that we're looking forward to, a nice little blow off top whenever it happens. It can take its time. We're in no rush, but it's going to be a long summer going ahead. And then the other thing I want to take a look at was this Cornucopias game. But I should have loaded that up earlier in the day. You know, I'm still, what I figured was, you know, this music stuff, I can just riff off the cuff. But this Bitcoin and crypto thing, I might need a little bit more planning. What do you think?
Definitely. There's a lot to it.
Yeah. So Tanner has been working like crazy. What are you working on, a musical?
Yeah. So I'm a contracted musician by trade, so everything I do has to do with music, or I guess.
Yeah, he helps me out in the piano workshop and all that stuff. And you know, we met playing music together in a musical production over at the college. And so we've been hanging out since then and getting to know each other. And it's been a couple of years. I thought it was like 5, but it hasn't been that long.
No, it's probably 4, 5. Yeah. Well, no, it has been 5.
Hasn't?
Yeah, my
since you graduated?
Since before college. I was in high school. Yeah.
Yep. And it's wild. We had a great same sense of humor, and we were like, like this guy's interesting. Let's hang out.
I always made fun of his beard.
Yeah.
I think he dyed it purple when we met.
I don't know. I don't think I had a beard. Because I've only had this like 3, 4, 4
No, you
years.
had a top hat. You had a stupid looking top hat.
Yep.
That was like...
I just put that away. Anyway, it was over here. All right, let's get into the news and we can continue goofing off. hopefully you like a little bit of the new setup here. Where, you know, I've been talking about bringing some people in on the stream, and Tanner was hanging out, so I figured, hey, I want to talk to him about a couple of things. So here is a fresh roundup of 10 crypto news stories for your HODL Harmony livestream on Sunday, May 11th, 2025, tailored to today's developments based on the latest available information and avoiding overlap with previous days. As I said, the more I talk to Grok, the more it kind of reiterates information back and forth. So it's a little annoying, but I just find it hilarious to read it over and over again. These stories mix market highs, regulatory moves, and cautionary tales to keep your audience engaged. That's you. Number 1, Bitcoin targets 160K. Really? Bitcoin held above 104K with analysts like Cointelegraph's HODLer's Digital Digest, Cointelegraph's HODLer's Digest predicting a $160,000 peak in 2025, driven by U.S.-China trade talk optimism. And I have something on X about that. And ETF inflows. Last week's $920 million Bitcoin ETF haul, led by BlackRock, fueled the rally. Very interesting. We'll get to some of that on X. Like I said, every day I go through and save a couple bookmarks and things for you guys to check out. Number 2, go ahead. Tether's USDT tops 150 billion. USDT's market cap hit 150 billion, with Tron surpassing Ethereum share at 48%, per DeFi Llama. This milestone highlights stablecoins' dominance amid growing DeFi adoption. That's for this.
Right, I'm trying to control different mic settings. Can I not?
I don't know. What are you messing with?
Gates and different sounds for the mics. Oh, okay.
I don't know. See, it doesn't even recognize it's plugged in.
Yeah.
Let's play with it later. All right. Lido DAO, DAO is a decentralized autonomous organization, I think is what that stands for. Lido DAO's emergency oracle swap. Lido Finance initiated an emergency vote to replace a compromised oracle after a cybersecurity breach, assuring stakers the protocol remained secure. The incident rattled the DeFi sentiment. Interesting.
Very.
In Florida, teens charged in $4 million heist. Uh-oh, somebody's going to jail. 2 Florida teens faced 22 felony counts, for a $4 million crypto theft in Las Vegas. What? Interesting.
That sounds so cool.
Wish I was those kids, except for the jail part. Highlighting the rise of sophisticated crypto crimes, per Cointelegraph. I wonder if we'll see anything about that on X. I haven't seen anything about that. Number 5, dark stablecoins on the horizon. That's scary. CryptoQuant's CEO warned of dark stablecoins emerging as censorship-resistant alternatives amid tighter regulations, potentially reshaping the stablecoin landscape. Number 6, Ethereum's Pectra hack risk. The Pectra upgrade, live since May 7th, introduced a new transaction type that could let hackers drain accounts using off-chain signatures, raising security concerns. Please be careful if you're in ETH. I don't know, that doesn't sound very good. I got out of ETH a couple months ago when everything was peaking in February. Number 7, Saylor's Bitcoin buying tease. MicroStrategy's Michael Saylor launched a portfolio tracker and hinted at more Bitcoin purchases, sparking speculation on X about the firm's next big buy. All right, our Lord and Savior, Michael Saylor. And MicroStrategy is now called Strategy, or Strategy B, I think. XRP whales hoard 4 million tokens of XRP, I imagine. XRP whales accumulated 4 million tokens, signaling confidence in Ripple's pharma deal and UAE expansion, with U.Today reporting bullish $5 price targets. There you have it. I do hold a little XRP. Number 9, analyst predicts $12,000 Ethereum. Okay. OKC partner Ted Pillows forecasts Ethereum hitting $12,000 in 2025, citing institutional adoption, Pectra's ETH burn, and a risk-on environment from Fed rate cuts. if they ever happen, when they happen, hopefully. And our final story here, trade deal doubts weigh. The White House's May 12th trade deal briefing with China may lack substance, per Cointelegraph, tempering crypto's rally as investors await details. I'm not sure about that. I did see something on X about that. So we'll pull that up in a minute after we check in with the market.
I just did some research on the heist, and these two Florida teens have been charged in connection with a $4 million heist, as we know, and it involved a kidnapping in the desert of Las Vegas.
Holy crap. Sounds like a movie.
It sounds like a movie reading through this. Like, the suspects allegedly ambushed the victim outside his hometown in Las Vegas and was forcing him to give the passwords to these to his crypto accounts, and both of these subjects were 16 years old.
Oh my gosh.
So you would think they're like hardened criminals, but these 16-year-olds are now arrested for who knows how long.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's following on the tails of, I think it was last week, we had, I think it was these French crypto entrepreneurs were kidnapped, or his father was kidnapped and his finger was severed by the kidnappers.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Awful.
Check your mic, put it, I think, more down here so that it's facing your face. I think. It seemed like it was loud enough, but
I thought it was.
that's crazy. They know the only way to access his crypto is through him, right? And that's the security of crypto. You know, you can, I mean, I don't know if it's worth dying for, but this is why you hold various bags in various places. You know, I showed you my Tangent wallet. I told you about these other, you know, I have Uphold, I have all these other things. So in the unlikely event that you do get forced to submit to somebody's will and give up some of your cash, you know, maybe you can just give them a couple $100 and they'll be happy, because they won't, like, even if you give them your seed phrase, they probably don't even know what to do with it. So maybe they'll ask ChatGPT or some crap. But anyway, it's cool to have you here to do some research.
Yeah.
All right, live stream talking points. So these are some things for you to consider and to drop in the chats. Bitcoin's $160,000 dream. HODL tight or take profits now? And that's something we wanted to talk about. Tether's $150 billion milestone. Stablecoin king or regulatory target? Lido's Oracle scare. Is DeFi still safe for your stack? Florida heist and Pectra hacks. How to protect your crypto? Ethereum at $12,000. Bold call or altcoin pipe dream? I don't know. Throw it in the chat. Those are for you to answer. But yeah, that is some crazy stuff. Let's change our song here. Okay, I came up with, let me show you my screen here. So I was coming up with some new, I was experimenting, and I realized I hadn't made any, I might want to put the headphones on for this so you can hear. I realized I hadn't made any classical music. So I wanted to make some classical music, and then I used one of these. This is a harpsichord, because I was getting ready to make a short on my music channel about the harpsichord I just worked on. And then I took that and covered it in EDM style. So let's listen to some of those. So let's check in with the markets while we do that. He's vibing. I can't hear it, but I know it's good. I was listening earlier.
AI is crazy.
AI is crazy. This refusion stuff is nuts. And we're both musicians, so it's like, you know, you can never replace live music, so I think we're safe.
Still.
But it's crazy. All right, so we have been choppy all this weekend. Yesterday, today, we're just kind of ranging right here between 105 and 103. Right now, we're looking at $104,000, $104,622. And you see the red up here, that's some buying pressure prices, what the incoming trades are. If we were to look at like the order books, we would see, you know, all kinds of orders coming in high and low. And so that's basically like where the pressure is at. It's going up right now. And so we can see here in our volume wave, it is heading up as well. So we might, if I were to draw a line, I'd probably draw something like this. It might peak out a little bit here towards midnight, and then come back down. So the morning, I think tomorrow's going to be crazy. We're going to start continuing our run. We've got 3 weeks left in May. And like I said, hold on or hodl onto your butts, because May is going to be wild. So I think each week, you know, depending on what kind of news we get, it's just going to continue to rise, and then maybe June we'll consolidate a little bit, and then we'll continue our rise up through the summer. Maybe consolidate a little bit through the summer, and then the winter time really start to take off. So we shall see here. All right, so let's check in with our favorite Cardano. Okay, we're seeing some nice rises here. We dropped a little bit yesterday. Like I said, under $1. I'm still looking to buy some Cardano. You know, keep it under $1, keep my price point a little bit lower, and then ride it up. We're looking at 8.816. So 81 over 81.5 cents, which is looking pretty good. And we got some good, right now the momentum is up, so we might come back down a little bit and then continue to rise. Like I said, tomorrow might be exciting. Hopefully it will be. Look out for some posts if it is. Now, so from what I understand about what I've been reading about this the dollar index, the DXY, when it's around 100 or if it breaks below 100, right now, that means that if it breaks below 100, that means that crypto is stronger and the dollar is weaker. So 100 is good, above 100 is better for the dollar, below 100 is better for crypto. And you can see here our M2 money supply. Now this, I think, this just appeared on all of my charts whenever I put it on my Bitcoin chart. So I'm not really putting too much faith in it for any of these other things, but it does look like it's going down here, and it doesn't look like it really matches up with this chart, which doesn't make sense. But anyway, so I wouldn't put too much faith in this. It's interesting to see, but again, nobody can really tell the future. What do we have going on? We get the inflation rate coming up. This will be the 13th, so that's going to be the Tuesday? Yeah, Tuesday. So we get some inflation rate information, inflation rate. So we'll see that. That will be a market predictor. So all day tomorrow, and this is probably on this chart too. So all day tomorrow, people will be speculating and pricing in what they think these inflation rates will be. And you can see we have a forecast, we can have a previous, and then this will fill in when it actually happens at 8:30 on Tuesday. So look forward to some information there. All right, our fear and greed is down a little bit. It was 75, and now we're looking at 73. But that's all right, we're still looking pretty greedy, which is great for the market. People are buying. All right.
So one question I have is, how do I set a target price for when I should be exiting Bitcoin?
You've got the talking points. So exit strategies, right? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
So like when to exit the market, when to take profits and things like that. All right, let's pull up a chart. Can I pull up? Let's do an all-time high chart. Okay, Bitcoin, or actually, let me go over here. So it's a great question. It's always good to kind of think about these things. Let's pull up an all-time chart for Bitcoin here. Or even, let's go a year. All right, so this is good. We can see, make this full screen. Okay, the one thing I don't like about it is that big crap that comes in my way. So dollar cost averaging is great. We talked about that throughout your little journey here. Oh, nobody can see that. Haha, there you go. So I was going to ask you, before I answer your question, I'll answer your question with a question. We've talked about crypto for a while, and what was it that like made you make the jump to get invested?
Well, I'm looking for my future, and I'm trying to find a good strategy. Well, I'm looking for good strategies to put my money somewhere where it's going to grow. And of course, I don't have just money in Bitcoin. I have money in a whole bunch of different cryptocurrency as well as other stocks. So really what I'm doing right now with my money is I'm diversifying my portfolios to where I'm not going to lose even if one of my things fails, and I think Bitcoin's just going to keep growing, so I keep throwing money on it. But ultimately, I'm just trying to grow my money.
Yeah, and financial advisors always talk about diversifying and things like that, diversifying your assets. Like I've said before, I was into stocks, a while back, and just kind of seeing what the market does and things like that. So it's always good to kind of, like I said, I'm into precious metals and stuff like that. So, that's my long-term strategy is, hold Bitcoin, hold these different cryptos, some of which are purely just for profit, right? So a lot of these things we talk about, it's like, like Ondo and Sui and things like that, and even Cardano to a certain extent. I think Cardano has a lot of headroom still. Bitcoin, they talk about diminishing returns. So if we look at the all-time chart, can we do something in here? So the all-time chart for Bitcoin, this was a significant pump. This was like the 2013 rally. It looks like just a little anthill on that chart there. That was a pretty significant price pump, from like $100 to like 1,000 or something like that. So that's, what is that, 100x or something, whatever that is. So they talk about diminishing returns with Bitcoin. And so it's like whatever this price action was a little bit more than whatever this price action was, from 1,000 to 20,000. Maybe not. This may have been like the most significant one. So what is that? Yeah, like what's the low? Yeah, so like $300-400 all the way up to 20,000. That's pretty significant. And then it stabilized down here. We hit a low of like 6,000, whatever that is, if I can get down there. 6,000 up to, what is this, 60,000, right? So these waves going up and down are going to become less and less each cycle, and that's what they call diminishing returns. So here we're at 16,000, and who knows where we're going to head up. I'm estimating 250 is going to be our top. So when we approach that price target, I'm not just sitting there waiting. Let me start. There we go. So I'm not just sitting there waiting for the price to go up to 250,000 and just be like, okay, now, and then I sell. So what I talked about, I don't know if I ever put this in the thing, but let me put some of these numbers up there and see if people can see what I'm talking about. So for each crypto that I have, why can't I see my stuff? So for each crypto that I have, I literally have a whole thing here. It's called Crypto Exit Plan 2024, because that's when I wrote it. Actually coming up on a year of me writing this in July. And so what I did was I sat down and for each cryptocurrency, I figured what the current price was, and then I just kind of ballparked some numbers. So like for Bitcoin, my numbers for that was, when I was writing this, it was 69K, which is crazy to think about. And this was in July of 2024, okay? So my current price was this, and then my price targets that I wanted to kind of, as it approaches each of these numbers, I planned out how much I wanted to take off of the table, and just to kind of have some kind of a profit taking strategy going. So you got to find these numbers that are right for you, but this was just some ballpark numbers, and half of them I've already hit. So 85K. And for Bitcoin, I didn't put how much I wanted to take off the table. It was just a matter of when it hits this price target, I want to take a little bit of profit. Because for Bitcoin, it's my long-term hold. I don't particularly want to sell all of it. Everybody talks about having your HODL bag. You should have just a big bag that you're just going to keep forever, and you can add to it and things like that. And obviously, it's prudent to maybe take some profits, roll it into either cash or a stable coin. Stable coins are really useful for that. And then you can roll it back in when the bear market close to bottoms. And to talk about that, the thing that I'm doing here for price targets for taking profits applies exactly in the inverse when the market goes down. As the market goes down, you want to be buying chunks and chunks as it goes down so you can get different exposure. And that's where dollar cost averaging comes in. So your dollar cost averaging on the way up and on the way down.
So with that, if you are pulling money out and putting money in, and you're constantly messing with your portfolios, when you're taking money out, what are the tax implications of the money that you receive? How do you file that to your taxes? I mean, that's a question that a lot of people have.
Yeah, that's a big one, especially here in the U.S. What you either keep track of it, or wherever you sell it keeps track of it. And so once a year in April during tax season, I sign up for a free trial, or I even just pay for a month of Coinbase One, I think it's called. And what that does is that allows me to get access to a pre-filled tax document with all of the crap I need, and I just upload that with my tax returns, and it's all done. And it's really, really easy with that. And I find that, yeah, it's Coinbase One, and I find that that's worth the investment rather than going to jail or whatever.
Right, of course. But what if you're not using Coinbase?
There are other services. It's a lot more tedious. Coinbase is my on and off ramp. Uphold is another one, and Uphold probably has a similar thing. So if you're in the US and you have to comply with KYC and anti-money laundering and all that stuff, you have to basically comply with this. All the exchanges that run in the US have to comply with this. So they're all going to have their little form like that.
Okay.
Something like that. So let me finish what I'm saying here about our price targets. Great question. So my numbers for Bitcoin, and these are just ones that I randomly thought of and came up with. They were kind of like psychological numbers. So 85K, 95K.
Gonna put it up on the screen again.
Yep. And then 105K. And so these are all price targets that have been hit. Okay, so I took profits at those levels already. And so still to go, price targets that I want to hit, and I will sell a little bit of my bags at. We have 125K, so it's a pretty significant jump from 105, but it's patient, and I take notes. So did not sell at 85K on 11/5 after the election. So I skipped over that one. So I was like, I know this is going to go higher, so I'm just going to wait. So at 95K USD per Bitcoin, that's when it was. Around that time, I bought one of my miners. So I kind of used that instead of taking profits. I've rolled it into a miner, which has been a great decision. Okay, at 103,000, I swapped 0.005 Bitcoin at the end of November. Taking notes whenever I need to take money out for bills and whatnot. So my other price targets here, we have 140K, and these are just my numbers. You should come up with your own. And then I think 200, and then this one I have a question mark because who really knows what's going to happen. And then 200K. So these are question marks, still yet to trigger. Okay, so let's just do one more here for ADA. Now with ADA, I was a little bit more detailed. ADA current price as of July 2024. It was, are you ready? 42 cents. Oh boy. If only we could go back. All right, so my price targets for this, I wanted to sell 200 ADA at $1, and I did that. So that was triggered. I hit that one. So triggered. And when was it triggered? I was on the notes here. It was 99 cents. I was watching and waiting, and so I actually sold at $1.02. So 102 sold at 11.22.24. All right, so I hit that price target. So I mean, this is just the same thing as that document that I gave you all, the PDF, with checking your income, your expenses, your assets, and your liabilities. It's literally the same thing just for your crypto, and if you put your mind on something, then you're going to make it happen, or you're going to be paying more attention for it. It's going to be more impacting. So my other price targets here, I want to sell 200 at $3, and then 200 at $5, and then 400 at $8. And it could go higher than that, but that's as high as I put. I put a question mark there at 8 because who knows? So as you can see, as it starts to approach some of these levels, you just clip off a little bit. You clip off a little bit. And so then, you know, what I also did, where is it here? So I totaled up basically what I would do. So like 2 times 3 is 6, so that's $600 in profits there, you know, $1,000 in profits here. So that's what I'm expecting to take off of the table. You know, that's how I'm looking at it. This is something you should sit and do for all of your cryptos, all the things that you want to do with your money. Take it off the table, put it in a document. It's not just going to be in your head, because if it's in a document, you'll at least be accountable to yourself about what you're going to do with it, and say, okay, this was my plan. Am I going to stick to the plan, or am I going to alter the plan? So that's kind of
taking out the emotion.
Exactly. Yeah. That's the big point, is taking out the emotion of what you're doing. You know, because that's the biggest thing. Is like you see it going up, and you're like, well, it's going to go up some more. If it's already going up, it's going to just keep going up. So there's that. What else you got?
Well, how do I buy Bitcoin? What websites do you think are good websites? I know you said Coinbase before. I think you gave another site. What are different sites that you would use that maybe are transparent and offer reliability?
So transparent's a good one. Uphold is my new favorite, and I learned about that from Crypto Casey. Look at that. Let's take a peek at their transparency stuff. Why is Uphold different? It's 100% asset reserved. What is that? 100 platform is 100% plus reserved. So they publish their assets in real time. They never loan out your money. It's always available to you. These are all problems that we have with regular banks, and why, you know, I think we should keep them here. Our highly experienced team includes ex-financial regulators and a former state prosecutor. Operating entities are domiciled in the US, UK, and EU, and they are subject to regular US state audits. So yeah, they prove, and you can audit this. I'm not sure how, but that's what they say they have in reserve, their volume and things like that. And I know this is auditable. So I do use Coinbase. I use Coinbase because I can buy daily, and I like to dollar cost average daily. But I do like that Uphold is like, hey, we're legit. We have these things that we say we have. So I like that. Those are the two that I use. Let's take a look at Twitter, the Twitter sphere, the X sphere. So what people think it's like to HODL, finish line, what it's actually like to HODL. Hell and high water and everything in between. Spiders and dinosaurs and octopi and lightning storms. And then there's a gator, because we're in Florida. There's a gator at the end.
So what role could Bitcoin play in like an economic crisis, like Lebanon or Argentina, or like when
currencies are debasing?
What can happen with Bitcoin, and what role does that play in?
I'm just grabbing my water.
Something like that.
Well,
it's my stream now. Hey guys.
Well, in those cases, I think it's just financial stability. You know, gives you, you know, when the, see you later, Mr. Butters. Catch it up later.
Peace.
It doesn't look like I'm going to be playing this game today. It's 64% done.
Maybe.
So in that case, you know, the stability that it offers is, you know, I think the biggest thing. Is just, you know, the Argentinian peso is crashing, and, you know, think about what is it, Weimar Germany or something right before World War II, where it was like people were bringing barrels of cash to go and buy a thing of bread or whatever their daily groceries were, and then they had time in the middle of the day to go spend money, because by the time they got off of work it was half the value that it was before.
Wow.
You didn't know about that? Oops.
I think I've heard of it, but I haven't.
Yeah, they literally would, like Spain takes a siesta in the middle of the day. They took a break to go spend money because it was going to be half the value when they got off work.
Crazy.
It's insane.
So, what nation state what will nation state adoption of Bitcoin lead to any different type of cyber warfare, or is there different scenarios that could play out because of the adoption of this currency?
Hopefully it'll lead to a reduction in all of that. As people have more stability in their currency, I think maybe they'll be more peaceful because they'll have less things to worry about. They were like, oh yeah, when you're fat and happy, you got less problems. You're like, okay, I don't have to worry about food. Iran and whatever's not pissing me off so bad this day, because we all have it. But of course it could lead to contention because oh well, we want it and you've got it, that sort of thing. So who knows? It's kind of like predicting things. Who knows? Who knows what could happen?
Oh, cool. I hope Bitcoin just keeps going up.
Yeah. Well, what I thought you were going to say was about the price appreciation with the Bitcoin, because of all the nation states getting into it and things like that.
Yeah. Oh well. Definitely. I mean, you have so many different nations that are diving in and buying more, and I mean, you see it everywhere now. And my big question that I still have in my head is there is a finite amount, and I know it's going to take a long time before it gets to the end of making Bitcoin. But when it does, what is going to happen to the value of it? Do you think it's just going to become nothing? It's not going to be worth anything?
I've talked about that because that's something that my student talks about.
Right.
He goes, what happens with this? And I actually asked Grok about it, and I think I talked about it in one of my other streams. Basically, it's going to rely more heavily on the transaction volumes and the price, the transaction fees, because once the last Bitcoin is mined, or the last portion of it, because I think there was something in here that showed, I'm just skipping over all this, but it showed the little, how much Bitcoin is going to be mined over the next 100 and something years as we wait for this to happen. Let's see, nope, I guess I didn't have it. But basically, it's going to be like a trickle, little dripping of a faucet as it keeps going.
Right.
And right now it's 3 Bitcoin. It'll be 1, and then it'll be portions of a Bitcoin. And so it's just going to be more reliant on the transaction fees within the block, and the more transactions that are on the block, the more fees there will be. And so that's something Matthew Crowder was talking about in a video I watched today about the fact that we need to. In response, had you been following what was going on with the Bitcoin Core people and how they're trying to add transactions to the block fee that have nothing to do with finances and things like that?
No.
So some of my other, I think last week or the week before, I was talking about that on stream. So to sum it up, basically, they want to add irrelevant things to the blockchain that have nothing to do with financial transactions. And that kind of goes against the whole ethos of Bitcoin. And so people who operate the Bitcoin Core software are the ones who implemented this into their software. And that's kind of the whole reason why I'm switching over to Bitcoin Knots, so that I can have them be more responsible for my stuff, because they're more responsible with the decisions that they implement into their copy of the blockchain. And so what my node is doing right now is syncing all of the transactions throughout Bitcoin history. And it's almost done. It's been going for 4 days now. And so the blockchain is now 500 gigabytes. So Bitcoin Core, or Knots, Bitcoin Core has proven to be unreliable, and they don't want to hear other people's inputs and things like that. So Bitcoin Knots has seen a huge influx of people going to it. basically, because of that decision. And so, yeah, I think that's kind of it. Let's go through some of these stories here, and then we'll kind of wrap it up. We're looking at 45 minutes right now.
Oh, wow.
So check this out. Stay humble. Stacking Bitcoin. It's just a nice little walk through the forest, designed to offer an alternative to the traditional finance systems, allowing transactions without the need for banks. I was talking to my mom about that today because I gave her some of those Bitcoin earrings that I made. Ooh, we got some rain going on out there. So yeah, when we finish this, let's talk a little bit about your Etsy store. Do you have that? I could pull that up.
Oh, I don't know if it's up yet.
Okay,
I had to read
we'll
over
talk
it.
about it.
Yeah.
All right, so this is how poor people dress, according to Bitcoin Thanos. A $350 hat, $2,000 jacket, $1,000 inner jacket, whatever. Real expensive clothes, right? But a rich person dresses, because they're frugal, they dress in less expensive stuff. And a Bitcoiner is a god. He doesn't wear anything. He just wears a little tunic and a rope. Laser eyes, you know what that is? Laser eyes?
Like Superman shit?
No, it's like Bitcoin related.
No.
It's like
No idea.
laser eyes on the prize or whatever, something like that. Yeah,
Well, that could be affiliated with anything.
I guess so. Yeah.
Prize.
But it's a Bitcoin thing.
I see. I'm not versed in it.
People were putting their X pictures with their laser eyes if they were Bitcoiners. All right, so banks were closed this weekend, but Bitcoin was open.
24/7.
All right. This is what it's like to hodl Bitcoin, and this is what it's like when you explain it to me.
I feel like I've been more and more of that second picture as
Yeah.
of recently, trying to understand this and explaining it to people who don't really have any grasp of it.
Yeah.
And, that's what I look like.
It's tough. It's a stigma, but it's all good. We'll get through it. Goldman Sachs boosts their holdings by 28%. We talked about that. All right, this was interesting. If you were in the Discord, you saw me send some messages earlier about listening to a Twitter space with Charles Hoskinson, and it started off normally enough, and then he started going off on this rant, and it was pretty bad. You know, he's pretty pissed off about some of these people kind of bad-mouthing him and things like that. So. But this is a Cardano hackathon in Vietnam.
Oh, wow.
So it's pretty cool. You know what a hackathon is?
Sounds like you hacked something.
It's like kind of like a science fair, but for computer nerds.
That's cool.
And so they come up with different projects, and they try and hack different things. It looks like a Raspberry Pi with some, I don't know, Wi-Fi thing or something. So they come up with different projects, and they all get together and nerd out about it.
Very interesting.
Pretty cool. That's what we're going to see in the future here.
Yeah.
So, I wanted to pull this up. Let me see if I can pull this up. Look at this. So, let's go to my channel. I want to show you a video I'm super proud of. I just put out a short yesterday, and I put a lot of work into it. So this is basically what you have to look forward to from my videos. Let's see, can I make this full screen?
Hey everyone, welcome to HODL Harmony, where the beat of the blockchain meets the rhythm. Richard, are you riding this crypto wave with me? Today we're going to debunk 5 crypto myths. Let's separate fact from fiction. Number 5, you might think crypto is just for shady dealing, but actually only 0.3% is for illicit use. And of that, 80%
Sounds like that music.
is illegal. Governments are on top of it, cracking down on crime as much as they can. Number 4, some say Bitcoin has no value, but tell that to the person who spent 10,000 Bitcoin for some pizza. That Bitcoin is now worth almost $1 billion. Number 3, many think Bitcoin is like a spy movie, completely anonymous. But actually, it's pseudonymous. Transactions are public on the blockchain, but your identity is not tied to that. Number 2, crypto mining sounds bad for the planet, but many miners use renewable resources, like repurposing old power plants, flare-offs of natural gas, geothermal power, and hydroelectric. Number 1, many say Bitcoin isn't real money, but there are thousands of ATMs. Many companies like Tesla and Microsoft accept it, soon to be Steak and Shake. There are debit cards like Coinbase where you can spend your crypto, and El Salvador made it legal tender. You can use it for anything. There you have it. 5 myths debunked. Don't believe everything you hear online. Crypto's always changing, so keep learning.
There you go.
Very interesting.
I put some time into that. It came out pretty good. Why it's telling me to promote it? I thought I already was promoting it.
Well, I guess not.
Let's look at that. So, talking about the renewables and things like that. So solar is apparently dominating every other type of renewable resource. I'd like to see nuclear take over.
Yeah, right now there's like nothing.
Yeah, because I think that's the one that's really going to make the biggest impact. You know, solar panels you kind of have to replace every, I don't know, 10 or 20 years, something like that. But nuclear, I think, is where it's really at. You know, it's got such a bad rap, I guess understandably so, with things exploding and nuclear radiation and stuff like that. But there is a way to do it responsibly.
I forget what it's called, but one thing I'm looking for, and I'm waiting to hear, the next generation of like power plants could be us using, It's fission.
Fission.
Yeah,
And I think it's another type of nuclear.
Well, I just read a study. Yeah, technically it is, but you're not using as much energy. Well, you're getting more than you put in realistically. And I just read a study the other day that in the past couple months they got fission to last like 30 seconds or something, which is a new record. They just blasted through the last record of like half a second or whatever of like more energy being pushing out. Yeah. And this was like 30 seconds of it pushing out tons more energy, which is insane.
Imagine if they could harness whatever that was in 30 seconds.
Right.
Just take that and grab onto it or whatever. Who knows?
Yeah, I can't wait to see, because I think that'll be better than any other energy source we have. That'll be the next step of space travel, everything. I mean,
that's for sure.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yes, we will. So this guy says, I'm so sick and tired of these Bitcoin reserve policy proposals. Just eliminate capital gains tax on Bitcoin and get out of our way. That's what we need. So I'm pretty hopeful for that. You know, I think before too long, before this Trump presidency is over, I think we'll see that eliminated. Let's see. So this is pretty cool. You know, the first thing that I liked on this profile was Starlink. So I get some Tesla things and things like that. This was at their exhibition for all of this stuff. So this is like what taxis will look like in the future. It's an autonomous vehicle. It's got no steering wheel whatsoever. And so you just get in, tell it where you want to go, and it takes you there.
Have you ever seen Black Mirror?
I don't think so.
Oh man, you should check it out. Black Mirror is such an interesting show. It's like a futuristic reality of like what could happen in the next like 30 years from now.
Oh wow.
Like a lot of it's like horror, but still like the things that could go wrong and the things that could go right. It's a pretty good series. Get through the first episode. The second episode gets better.
I'll check it out. I haven't been watching much TV lately.
I understand that.
But people were talking about like Westworld and stuff. How that's kind of interesting with the robots and all that.
Yeah.
So I'll have to check some of that out.
Well, the car you just showed looked like a car from Black Mirror.
Oh, cool.
And yeah. Like
that's Elon.
Yeah, driving itself, you know.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
That's the future. So, I can't believe he didn't cry during Titanic. Do men even have feelings? I do. It's beautiful.
Is that you?
It's beautiful.
When it boosts back up over 100?
Yeah, that'll be me when we get to 150.
Oh yeah, I'll be right there.
Bitcoin will fix my finances. No, Neo, it will fix your perspective. All right, this is what it takes. You see the Bitcoin price, but that's only a part of it. That's the tip of the iceberg. You need to study that Bitcoin. And this is super interesting right here. So this is the Google searches for Bitcoin. And it's similar now at $103,000 to what it was when it was $16,000.
Wow.
So just imagine what's going to happen as more people start to get interested and start searching for it and things like that. So it's going to blow up. Of course, you can always get me around a Lord of the Rings meme. The beacons are lit. Okay, this is funny. This is like what we were talking about. Diversification. This is my idea of diversification. A whole bag full of Bitcoin. Of course, I do diversify within crypto. I have other things, but yeah, this is hilarious.
Well, you know, and one thing I want to hit with that actually is the younger that you are,
the less important the diversification is. I mean, yeah, it's still important. You should still be diversifying your portfolios and stuff. But I was talking to my financial advisor recently, and he was talking to me about my stocks, and I was working with my stocks and showing him my different portfolios. And he was telling me, well, it's really not that important with my age group. Like, until I start getting to, like, yeah, I'm 21. Okay. So as I go and I get older and I get to like 35, 40, then the diversification starts to be more important. But like for young people, it doesn't matter as much because you have so much time that you're going to be in the market. The more you're in the market is all that matters. I mean, like hitting on different stocks and stuff is important, but as long as you're in the market, you're good. Yeah. And whatever the market is, especially cryptocurrency, because this is the future. Yeah. So just being in the market is important, and that's one thing I've learned.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm gonna see if I can take this over with me. Yeah, time horizon is what that is. And so it's like you, at 21, your time horizon is so much longer than anybody else. There we go. I got a little tiny tripod here. So, you know, I started to get into finances in my 30s, I think. And so even that, you know, it might be a little bit late, but it's still, you know, you think a lot of people, they retire and then that's when they start doing stocks and trading and things like that. So even then in your 50s or 60s or whatever, you know, that's when most people kind of get into it. So I feel like even in my 30s, you know, that's still early.
Oh yeah,
you know, still pretty early.
The earlier the better. I mean, I tell some of my younger friends, like, are you investing? And they'll be like, no, I haven't thought about it. Like, I've told people about like Roth IRAs and stuff like that. You know, like it seems stupid, and it's like, why am I? People are scared to invest into their future, especially in like uncertain times like this. Like, especially people my age just don't want to put that money forward because it's scary. I mean, you don't know what tomorrow is going to look like, and what's the point? Let's spend all my money. I was
just going to say that.
Yeah, a lot of kids don't even have a savings account. I mean, hell, I didn't even have a savings account until like half a year ago, and then I just started saving, putting all my extra money in stocks. I mean, realistically, my savings account is my portfolio, and that's where I put all.
And that's how I am with crypto. It's like,
right,
and you're more hesitant to pull it out.
Yeah.
When you're like, oh well, I'm going to get these returns. Well, what am I doing here? Why am I taking this out if I'm hopefully going to see it double or quadruple or whatever? But yeah, that's what I was going to say about, you know, like feeling like it's pointless because, you know, the world's going to end or whatever, you know, whatever war's coming next and things like that. It's like, you know, kind of irrelevant, but it's the same kind of sentiment that was happening in the 60s during Vietnam in the 70s. You know, it was like people were like, the world's going to end. Let's just have free love and whatever and all that kind of stuff. And, you know, I think each generation has kind of had that over their little influence of what, you know, what they perceive as the future. So yeah, I think it's important to save, but, you know, it's also important to have quick access to that stuff. So that's why I think crypto over stocks, because I was just showing something. It was right here.
Well, but you look at like ETFs. Bitcoin is being incorporated in a ton of different ETFs that people are investing in. I mean, I have some ETFs that have Bitcoin in them now.
It's good. It's bad. It's a little bit of both. It's good because it brings in more of the traditional investor, like grandparents and older people and boomers and things like that. But it's bad because that is kind of against the whole point of Bitcoin. The whole reason Bitcoin was created was to just be decentralized and just be what it was, and you don't need that institutional money to really make it work. But it's good because it brings all that money into the space. Well, and the interest. But is it real? Is it actual Bitcoin? Is it backed up by Bitcoin? That's why I like Uphold. But you know, like Goldman Sachs and BlackRock, how much Bitcoin do they actually have, and how much is paper Bitcoin? Is it not real Bitcoin? So that's the concern.
Well, yeah, but I know when you look at stuff like that, it gets scary because you have all of these big corporations that say they have Bitcoin. They have Bitcoin, let's say, and you know they could all sell them off. They could all sell it off and screw us. Or I don't really know enough about it.
To a certain extent, they kind of are. You know, the market in 2021 would have been a single peak market if it wasn't for the institutions, like kind of influencing it. And
well, that's what's happening with Ethereum.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't understand why Ethereum's price was going down when so many corporations and so many billionaires are buying it. Like, you look at the huge names that are buying it. I mean, I think Trump put like a ton of money into it, and I think that has to do with staking it, doesn't it?
Yeah, probably, because it takes a lot of money to be able to stake Ethereum. Unlike Cardano, which you could literally stake, 1 or 10 or something. I can't remember.
Right.
If there is a minimum, it's very low.
Well,
Easily attainable.
That's one question I still have, and I'm probably going to do some research on it. But why Ethereum's price was going down when so many people were putting so much money into it? How does that even work?
Probably because whoever was holding it, whoever has big bags of it, the whales that they call them, they saw people put money in and they just started selling because they could,
Yeah.
and just to keep the price suppressed. That's a big reason why we're still just kind of flirting with 100,000. Not really going anywhere.
Yeah.
Let's finish some of these stories up.
Oh, yeah.
So this is what I was mentioning something here. So people, whatever. So this is what I was talking about here. You can access it here. So
You're not.
oh yeah, I'm showing you this. So so you got to get your permission from all these different people.
And again, you own it with the permission of the government, with the permission of your stockbroker, with the permission of every layer in the chain. You don't really own it. The only thing you can actually own is Bitcoin. And so when you start to realize what's happening with the system, you go down this chain of thinking, there's only one outcome, and everybody's going to get that. It's you've got to own Bitcoin.
Yeah, so with your stocks, there's so many other people telling you what you can do about it or with it or whatever. Okay, a little Steve Wozniak here. Bitcoin, this is in 2022. Bitcoin is the most amazing mathematical miracle. It's better than gold, according to Wozniak. He was a pretty smart guy. Yeah, so this goes to that Google search thing that we talked about. Can't believe we're at 103 and it's this quiet. But it's just the beginning. So I took a picture of this because I think I put it back up. I don't remember if it was on this. I think it was on my other channel where I showed this clock that I made, and I painted on there the Roman numerals. And I was looking at this. Take a look and see if you notice anything weird about the Roman numerals.
1, 2, 2.5.
Oh, I didn't even notice that part. Yeah, 1, 2. That's supposed to be 3, but
Right.
This is 3. That's 5. So the Roman numerals are all weird. What I noticed here was 9 and 9. On my clock that I made, I put 12 and 12 because I'm an idiot. But I'm not an AI. I should know what Roman numerals are. Anyway, this is hilarious. I like this.
Well, you're a music theorist. You should know what Roman numerals are.
And I lived with that clock for like a year before I noticed it. So this is what we've been doing lately.
Let's go. Yeah, keep going up.
All right. This is for Nefestos if he's watching.
For anybody to call that a savings account. I mean, you may like it, but I think that's a bridge too far right now, isn't it?
Over the last 30 years, the U.S. dollar has lost 50% of its purchasing power. So in my lifetime, $1 now buys you 50%, or 50 cents of servicing goods. And so when you think about that, the most volatile asset that most people hold is the dollar, and they're on the wrong side of volatility. Bitcoin, on the other hand, over a long period of time, appreciates. And so the best statistic to look at this is in 2016, the average median home was about $380,000. I'm sorry, $280,000. Today, it's over $400,000, right? So 50% increase in the average home in America. During that same 8-year period, it used to cost 664 Bitcoin to buy that home. Today, it costs 6 Bitcoin. It has been a 99% reduction in the cost of a home in America if you held Bitcoin. And so another way to think about that is if you had about $5,000 of Bitcoin in 2016, today it could buy you a house.
But depending on
Got the tin cam
this
up
thing
on the
is
screen.
way too high. For anybody to call that a savings account. I mean, you may like it, but
So
I think that's a bridge
basically,
too far right
the
now.
dollar is super
the last 30
volatile on the
years,
downside,
the
and
US dollar
Bitcoin is
has lost
volatile on the
50%.
upside. So what they say, you don't deserve the 3,000% pump if you can't handle the 1,000% dump. And that's one thing Nefestos always says to me at school. He's like, oh, it's just so volatile, it's so volatile. Oh, here you go. This is like exactly what he says. Reminder that most people are just like Tyler. Let's see. Serious question for you. What's the fair value of one Bitcoin? Tyler says, I don't think I'll ever buy one Bitcoin at any price. I guess that makes it worth nothing to me. Why? Because I'm convinced it will never be money. And besides being money, the only thing it's useful for is speculating. That's exactly what he says. To make more dollars, and I don't like speculating on things that have such huge price volatility. So you don't like speculating on things that could make you a ton of money.
Well, it could all, I think his argument is that
You could lose
you a lot of money. Yeah.
Well, you know, that's the way the cookie crumbles.
Well, but unfortunately, with people like that, they're just uneducated.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't know anything about it, which makes them
you have
scared.
to look at the chart. Ooh, do I have that? I think that was yesterday. I pulled that up. I need to save some of these so that, oh, there you go.
Look at
that chart.
That's a great chart.
So that's not a chart that looks like it ever goes down. Where was the video? There was a really cool video of this animation. There it is. I want to like save this for all time. I don't need your music. Oh, I never put my music back on. But yeah, so this is a really cool animation. It shows you what volatility looks like, and then it puts it in perspective of the long term. And I did a little calculation here. I'm so glad it's raining.
Mm-hmm.
My lawn needs it.
I'm waiting. So describe what is happening here.
So we're watching the price of Bitcoin through time. And so this is the bear market. It's getting ready to do a little pump. Once it goes hyperbolic like that, that's a pump. That's a bull market.
Mm-hmm.
And it went up to 20,000 and it came back down. And on the right side, you're watching on the S curve what's happening. This is just on whatever. Oh, linear and logarithmic. Boom, I can read. Right, so then that was the 2021 market. It crashed back down. And then this is the market that we're looking at right now. And then the logarithmic chart is going to keep going.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's kind of like future predictions where we're looking at. And so what I noticed, the top number up there is $100 trillion. Now, I was saying for a long time that I think one Satoshi is going to equal $1. Mm-hmm. And if that's the case, there's was it 100 million Satoshis in a Bitcoin? Pretty sure. So that means that it's going to be $100 million for Bitcoin. And that's down here, $100 million. Right? Mm-hmm. So if one Satoshi equals $1, that means Bitcoin is worth $100 million. Well, that's not the end of their chart. Their chart ends at $100 trillion, which is 2 orders of magnitude bigger than that. So I did a little calculation. What would one Satoshi equal? So a Satoshi is 1/100 millionth of a Bitcoin.
Yeah.
So what would one Satoshi equal? One Satoshi. We need to see this because it's incredibly irrelevant. One Satoshi. You could buy one Satoshi for...
You mean relevant?
No. It's
irrelevant.
It's completely irrelevant right now. You could just buy a Satoshi for... It's like a portion of a penny.
Yeah, that makes
right?
sense. I remember reading somewhere recently that like you could, if you own like 1.004 Bitcoin, you will forever own more Bitcoin than like 90% of the population.
Yeah, that's what people are talking about. So let's see, a Satoshi. How many Satoshis are in a Bitcoin? Here we go. So there you have it. So one Satoshi is, look at how insignificant that is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 zeros in front of a 1, right? Out of 8, right? So one Satoshi, how much is point? So let's see. That's 7 zeros. Point 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1 BTC to USD.
Probably 0.000. Whoa.
What? There you go.
Okay.
1/10 of a penny can buy you one Satoshi.
Wow.
Right? So this one Satoshi, when and if, but I believe when Bitcoin equals $100 trillion, one Satoshi will be worth $1 million.
That'd be nice.
$1 million. Right?
But if 1 million yen can only buy you, or dollars, yen, $1 million can only buy you like a bus fare ticket or something. You know, you're not. That's not worth.
If
that
you
much.
like right now, if you have 1,000 Satoshis or whatever.
Yeah.
You know. Exactly. That's kind of the bigger point is that I'm going to repost that.
I wonder how many Satoshis I do have.
That's what you should start thinking of. I got Tanner thinking about
I'm curious.
what is his wealth in Satoshis? All right. So that's what you should start thinking about. Measure your wealth in Satoshis. There was something I saw that was saying it goes from collectibles. You're looking pretty good at $100 trillion.
Something like that.
So it goes from a collectible to a store of value to a currency to a unit of exchange. So like it's a collectible like Pokemon cards or something like, ooh, it's cool. And then talking about gold specifically. So you collect it because it's a shiny rock and it looks cool. And then when you notice that you have grain and wheat and all these perishable things like meat or whatever, and your gold still looks fine, but all of these things have deteriorated, you start to put more of what you feel is valuable into gold. So that's when it becomes a store of value. And then when it becomes a currency, you start to use it for things because you can break off a piece of that gold and trade it to someone for a piece, for a cow or whatever. And then when you start to think, how much is this camera in ounces of gold or something? That's when you start to have like a currency, an actual usable thing. So like right now we're thinking about Bitcoin in terms of the US dollar. But when we get to the point, because right now it's a store of value on that chart, so we're 2 out of the 4. So once we get to the point of it's a medium of exchange where we say, hey, I'm going to buy an ASIC miner with Bitcoin. Oh wait, I did that twice. So when more people start to use it like that, then it becomes more serious and more people get into it. And then when we start measuring our wealth, not in Bitcoin or not in dollars, but in Bitcoin, that's when full-time everybody's in it. Grandma's talking about Bitcoin, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So let's wrap it up here. Let's look at a couple things. We have the U.S. announcing a trade deal, U.S.-China trade deal in Geneva. Details to follow tomorrow. Get ready for blast off, folks. Blasting TF off.
Let's hope.
2035. Dad, why are they so rich? I heard they own one whole Bitcoin. Whoa. Fancy. Look at this. A Redditor predicting Bitcoin would hit $100,000 in 2025, 11 years ago. That's wild. 11-year-old post. Bitcoin will be valued at $100,000 a coin by 2025. Keep dreaming. It's deleted, but it's probably Peter Schiff or whoever. Objects in mirror are closer than they appear. That's good. That's really good because it's about to happen, hopefully. All right, this is what I wanted to get to here. So, Jason Appleton, Crypto Crow, the 7-foot gentle giant, has put out a book. He said, don't forget your copy of the first fictional book that he has written, The Adventure of Billy Boltz, Gears of Fate. So I've not read it yet, but this is supposed to be like a teen book. It's for young adults. But he says anybody will get something out of it. Anybody who reads it will get something out of it. And so I have yet to read it. Maybe I'll start it tonight and read it a little bit. But basically, it's kind of his story. He's taking place as Billy Boltz. Or actually, there was something, I saw a name, Melvin Applebaum, I think. Yeah, Mr. Applebaum. So maybe he's a teacher. But he said there's elements of his wife in here. It's all about robots and things like that. It takes place in the future, but I'm looking forward to this. And when I finish it, I will write him a nice little review. So that'll be pretty cool. Jason Applebaum, that is the Crypto Crow. So let me just read you the synopsis here.
Free advertisement.
Absolutely, but he deserves it. He's a great guy. And I want to meet him. If he's watching this, look me up. I already sent you messages. He was just a 13-year-old tinkerer with a garage full of broken bolts until he found a message that changed everything. The industrial outskirts of biome synthesis. Billy Boltz spends his nights rebuilding forgotten droids and dreaming of a father he never knew. But everything changes when he uncovers a hidden message inside a rusted robot. A message from his missing father, Melvin Applebaum. a legendary robotics engineer who vanished after winning Zoltar's combat robotics tournament. Now Billy is thrust into a high-stakes adventure that will test his genius, his courage, and his heart, with the help of his fierce best friend Kristen, a surprising ally in former bully Relson, and a quirky drone named Zippy. Billy embarks on a journey through scrapyards, hidden cave systems, and mysterious tech cults to uncover the truth. To save his father, Billy must do the impossible, build a 30-foot combat robot, enter the world's most dangerous tournament, and face off against an entire elite war machines while being hunted by the same men who took his father. Robots will clash, secrets will be revealed, and a boy will discover the legacy written in his circuits and his soul. If you love high-tech adventures, robot battles, found family, and coming-of-age stories with heart, you'll love Billy Bolts and the Gears of Fate, inspired by true life events by the author, or of the author. And this is also going to be a tabletop game. When we get done here, Tanner and I have been kind of not troubleshooting, but like just coming up with some money-making ideas. Yeah, there you go. He's already looking it up.
I'm looking at prices and stuff.
Yeah,
trying to get them the proper advertising.
It's $10 on Amazon.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah. I think this is a link to Amazon right here. Look at that. $10 on Amazon. $10.99. I got mine. You should get yours. Support fellow crypto people. There's a synopsis that I just read. Oh, that might be it also. So we've been coming up with a lot of ideas on how to make some money and things like that, and how to diversify our income streams, which I think is more important than diversifying your holdings, right? Your income streams are very important, and so the more different ways you have to make money, the better. So Crypto Crow came up with his little retirement plan that he wants to do during the next bear market. So we'll talk a little bit more about that. But anyway, I think that pretty much does it for tonight. Was there anything else? Bitcoin comes up 1% after you told everyone else to buy. He's crying.
Oh.
Okay, we'll get to some of this tomorrow. Oh yeah, basically we caught up anything. All right, let's read this.
Space World one day. I've also told people that it can trade at 100,000. Care less what Bitcoin trades for, how it trades, why it trades, who trades it. If you're stupid enough to buy it, you'll pay the price for it one day. I've also told people that it can trade at $100,000 before it trades to zero. Who cares about Bitcoin?
Oops.
Who trades it. If you're stupid enough to buy it, you'll pay the price for it one day. I've also told people that it can trade at $100,000 before it trades to zero. Who cares about Bitcoin? The world economy is so big. We move JPL alone. These companies, $6 trillion. We move all the way, and Bitcoin in total is all these currencies are $50 billion, maybe $1 billion trades a day. And the other thing I've always made of Bitcoin, governments. This is not a technological statement. Governments are going to crush it one day. Governments like to know where the money is, who has it, and what you're doing with it. Care less what Bitcoin trades for.
Anyway, so he's not a believer. He's one of those traditional finance people, and he got his arm broken, so who knows? Who knows what happened there? Maybe he did. Nah. We don't wish harm on anybody.
No, we don't.
All right, one last one here. British HODL. $1 million Bitcoin is coming faster than people think.
Let's go.
Well, there we have it. Let's put on a little outro music. Let's see. Let's go for this one. And I muted it. Did I unmute it?
I can't hear it, but it sounds great.
Unmute.
Gotta listen to this.
It's playing. Well, any final words, parting words there, Tan Man?
Buy Bitcoin.
Not financial advice.
No.
We're not financial advisors.
No, we're not.
We just tell you what we're doing with our money.
Yeah, buying Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And Cardano.
I was just going to say. All right. Well, this has been a Sunday edition of HODL Harmony, where the beat of the blockchain meets the rhythm of riches. Are you riding this crypto wave with me and the Tan Man? I hope you are. Please join us in the Discord. That's what we kind of wanted to talk about.
Yeah,
We've
Discord.
been building out the Discord, and because of him right here, this guy, we have an amazing Discord with Carlbot. Yay! Carlbot's pretty awesome. I've fallen in love with him already. He helped us out. But yeah, want to say anything about the Discord?
Come join the Discord, talk it out with us, have a good conversation.
Join the conversation on Discord.
You can give good suggestions to what you want to see on YouTube. I mean, you can interact with us. I mean, it's a great place for interaction and having fun. So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
it's in the chat.
Join the conversation. It is a pinned message in the chat. Let's see. So let's sign it off. The rhythm of riches. The what is it? Yeah, the whatever I say. The thing. HODL harmony. Where the beat of the blockchain meets the rhythm of riches. Are you riding this crypto wave with me? Please. A couple of things. Number one, be nice to the person in the mirror. Right? Be nice to other people. That's so nice. I'm so nice. Be respectful to all earthlings, big and small. And your daily reminder, where is it? To stay hydrated. Your body is mostly water. Did you know that?
It's a temple.
Your body is also a temple. I've never said that. That was Tanner who said that. But your body is mostly water. Well, let's do a dual cam of us drinking. Look at this. That's crazy. Your body's mostly water. You gotta stay hydrated and all that good stuff. Things that you can do if you found this moderately entertaining, which I think you probably did, because I think I had fun. You had fun?
Yeah, I had fun.
Well, this was pretty fun. We'll probably do some more of this. So things you can do to help out the channel. Number 5, join the Discord. Number 1, hit the like button. Number 2, smash the subscribe. Number 3, poke the notification bell so you get notified whenever I put out new content. And number 4, and most important, share this video with your friends, especially the ones who don't know anything about Bitcoin and the unspoken truth. Have a great